Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Sauce. Continuing on NFL Week 4, Saints on the road in Atlanta. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
All right, like I said, New Orleans is on the road in Atlanta here. Falcons laying 1.5 at home, which is pretty much where this line's been at the whole time. Maybe 1.5. As far as the total, I'm seeing 42s now, mostly 42.5s. This number's been bought down. This was 45.5, so indicates some sharp action coming in on the under. Let's take a look at the pie charts, and according to this data, which, as you know, I'm not a big fan of, but according to this data, everyone is on the Saints here. Holy shit. Over 90% of the tickets, over 95% of the money on New Orleans. So there's a lot of Saints love, according to this data, which you should take with a grain of salt. So let's talk about this matchup, and we'll start with some head-to-head history here. Saints have definitely controlled this rivalry. 4-1 in their last 5 games against the Falcons. 7-2 in their last 9 games against the Falcons. Atlanta has covered the number, though. Atlanta's actually 3-2 against the spread in their last 5, actually 4-2 in their last 6. So Atlanta's covered the number here and there, but as far as winning the game, it's mostly been Saints controlling this division rivalry here. But we're not interested in the past. We want to see how these two teams match up this season. And if you've watched the NFL this year, you know the Saints offense has been pretty explosive. They're 5th in the NFL in yards per play, 15th in success rate, 3rd in EPA. Passing, 1st in yards per pass attempt, 3rd in EPA. Saints offense moving the ball, putting points up. But the real story of the Saints offense is right here. I mean, weeks 1 and 2, averaging over 45 points a game, over 405 yards a game in the red zone, 8 out of 9 touchdowns. And that's in weeks 1 and 2. But against Philly last week, just 12 points, 219 yards, 1 of 3 in red zone trips. Essentially, we saw the exact opposite from the Saints offense against the Eagles that we have seen so far up to the season. So how did the Eagles defense make the Saints offense look so bad last week? Well, for starters, they pressured Derek Carr. Derek Carr was pressured on 44.4% of his dropbacks. That's a lot. And he was terrible under pressure. Check this out. When pressured last week, Derek Carr was 3 of 11, 19 passing yards, an interception, and a 1.7 passer rating. I had to double check that. I didn't even know passer ratings went into single digits. He had a 1.7 passer rating when pressured by the Eagles last week. So Derek Carr really struggled to handle the pressure. Now, I do have some good news for Derek Carr. Atlanta's been generating 0 pressure in terms of a pass rush. I mean, they're 31st in pressure rate, 32nd in pass rush grade, 31st in adjusted sack rate. So the Falcons pass rush not off to a good start here, and I mean, that's concerning because that was a weakness of the team last year. Now, they did just play the Chiefs, who have an elite pass protection. So I mean, it's only been a few games. Let's not panic, but definitely look like the Falcons not an elite pass rush, which is great news for Derek Carr. And I have some more great news for Derek Carr. He gets to throw on some more zone coverage. I mean, this dude's been throwing on nothing but zone. We talked about it last week. He played the Panthers, the Cowboys, who are 4th and 3rd in zone coverage frequency. So he opened up the season against 2 teams running a ton of zone coverage, and he went off. He was cooking on zone coverage. And if you listened last week, part of the reason I liked the Eagles was I thought Vic Fangio was going to throw some man coverage out there. And he really did it. He came out and ran about 50-50. So we saw Derek Carr struggle when he saw some man coverage and saw some pressure. Now he gets Atlanta, who runs a lot of zone coverage. I mean, they're 12th in zone coverage frequency, but check this out. They're 4th in cover 3 frequency. Carolina's 1st, Dallas 7th, Philadelphia 9th, and Atlanta 4th. So Derek Carr, another game where he's going to be throwing on primarily 3 deep safeties. He's opening up this season, and 3 of his first 4 games are primarily covered 3 zone defenses. So nothing should catch him off guard here. And it's not like the Falcons defense has been bad. I mean, they've been okay. 10th in yards per play, 7th in yards per pass attempt, 9th in yards per carry. Success rate numbers are a little rough, so situationally not the best defense, but overall it's been okay. Derek Carr didn't have many problems throwing the ball against Raheem Morris's defense last year. Now keep in mind he was with the Rams, but in that game Derek Carr was 27 of 40, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick, a 106 passer rating. What Raheem Morris did in that game with his Rams defense is take Alvin Kamara out of it. I mean, Saints didn't do anything on the ground. 16 carries, 35 yards, 2.2 yards per carry. So he took Alvin Kamara out of the game. Derek Carr was able to throw the ball here, and I actually think we may see some something similar, considering this Falcons defense, it should be good against the run. Now, Landman's still out, and that is concerning, but this was a top 5 run defense last year, top 10 maybe. They brought in Simmons. They added Judon. Grady Jarrett's also healthy. He missed the entire second half of last season. So I expect this Falcons defense to be strong against the run, and I expect them to take Alvin Kamara out of it. But I do like this game as a bounce-back opportunity for Derek Carr. Now, on the other side, we got the Falcons offense, and I mean, the Falcons offense from the eye test has been, in my opinion, if Kirk Cousins has time in the pocket, they'll score. If he doesn't, they'll look terrible. That's been my experience with the Falcons offense so far. On paper, they're okay. 13th in yards per play, 12th in success rate, passing 12th in yards per attempt, 6th in passing success rate. The issue, like I said, has been keeping Kirk Cousins protected. I mean, look at these pass blocking numbers. 22nd in pressure rate allowed, 26th in pass blocking grade, 31st in adjusted sack rate. But hold on. Look at who they've played. The Eagles, who, by the way, are looking like they have a pass rush this year. The Chiefs always have a good pass rush. And the Steelers. TJ Watt is on another planet. So they've played 3 very difficult pass rushes to contain. I think this offensive line is going to be pretty good this year. So I'm not panicking based on these numbers. I'm willing on the other side of the ball to say, hey, the Falcons pass rush, they might not have one this year. But as far as the offensive line goes, I think these numbers will improve. I think the Falcons offensive line is pretty good. So when you're looking at some of Kirk Cousins, like look at this one, pressured on 40% of his dropbacks, 8th most in the NFL. I mean, when you take into consideration the teams they've seen so far, I really don't think it's any reason to panic. I don't think it's that bad. And yeah, he has struggled with the pressure. I suppose we can be a little bit concerned about that. Completion percentage when pressured, 53.3%. When given a clean pocket, 74. Touchdown to interception ratio, 1 to 3, 3-0. Passer rating, 47.6 to 114.3. So yeah, maybe we could be a little concerned that he's not handling the pressure all that well. But as far as the pressure he's receiving, I think that will decrease because I think the Falcons offensive line, nowhere to go but up based on the schedule they've seen. Which brings us to the Saints defensive front. I mean, it looks okay. They are 7th in pressure rate, but just 18th in pass rush grade. I mean, they did play the Panthers. 12th in adjusted sack rate, so numbers look pretty good here with the Saints pass rush. Their defensive numbers as a whole look pretty good. I mean, they look great against the pass. 9th in yards per pass attempt allowed, 7th in success rate, 6th in EPA. But I'm concerned about the Saints run defense. And if you watch this channel, you've heard me say this 15 times. I've been saying it since the offseason. I don't think the Saints run defense is any good. They weren't good last year, and they didn't do anything to improve it. And the key pieces of that Saints defensive front are only a year older. They're 35 years old, the key pieces on that Saints defensive front. And what did we see last week? This was the main reason I had the Eagles as my top bet last week. The Eagles ran all over the Saints. 25 carries, 172 yards, almost 7 yards a carry for the game. They did whatever they wanted on the ground. Here are the Saints run defense numbers from last year. 4.4 yards per carry, 22nd in the NFL. 3rd in EPA. They actually didn't give up a ton of points. That's the reason for that. 25th in run defense DVOA. This was not a good run defense last year, and I don't expect it to be a good run defense this year. Oh, and one more thing about the Falcons run game here that I forgot to mention. I finished recording it, and I didn't want to turn all the lights up, put my contacts back in and shit. So check this out. So the Falcons, the Saints are dead last. The Saints defense, dead last in the NFL against zone concept rushing attempts, allowing 6.07 yards per carry against zone concept rushing attempts. It's worse than the NFL. Do you want to know who leads the NFL in zone rushing frequency? The Atlanta Falcons. 74.7% of their rush attempts this year have been in a zone concept. So you got a team that's ass against zone concept rushing against the Falcons, who run more zone concept rushing than anyone else in the league. So yeah, further hammers home my point that the Falcons should run all over the Saints. And look at the Falcons' offensive line numbers so far in the year. Yeah, the pass protection numbers look a little weak, but we just covered they've seen 3 elite pass rushes. Look at the run blocking numbers. This is a top 10 unit in terms of creating space in the run game. They're going to bulldoze this Saints defensive front. So where does that leave us in terms of placing a bet? Well, like I said, I like Derek Carr to bounce back. I think the Saints passing game is going to be there, and I like the Falcons to do pretty much whatever they want offensively. So that leans me towards the Falcons, but I think the move is the over here. I mean, you can get it at 42 now. Here's why I haven't bet it yet. Number one, sharp action is all on the other side, clearly. So at 45.5, it's been bet all the way down to 42. That's significant movement, which doesn't necessarily scare me off. I mean, hey, they're getting me a better number. I don't like to make a habit of playing against sharp action, but yeah, so there's that. And also, the Saints are just taking their sweet-ass time on offense so far. 31.6 average seconds between snaps. That's dead last. Slowest pace in the NFL. But the Falcons are quick, 24.9 seconds between snaps, which is third. So the Falcons are the team I expect to try to run the ball, so at least they're going to be picking up the pace. It'll be over for me here. 42, over 42. I haven't bet it yet. Maybe I can get a 41.5. If you'd like to see all the bets I currently have open, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. You'll see mine as well as everyone on the staff here. Also, if you sign up to Sauce Network Plus, it comes with access to the Discord, and you can participate in the weekly betting league. $150 on one of these trophies go to the winner every single week. So if you're interested, head over to the website and sign up. Live shows. Hope to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a good week 4. Week 3 was a savage one. Let's repeat that. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.